All right. Bear with me for a moment. I had to I had to restart the stream just to fix a technical problem that I had with it. So excuse that. But I believe we got the problem handled now, so that's good. Let me see. Yeah, so I had to scrap the first one. So we'll just cover some of the same things, right? So today is July 4th, 2024. And hell, let me tell you something, man. Earlier I went out, for a stroll, downtown, and you could tell, man, this year compared to, the last couple of years, people really ain't don't seem to be feeling, that holiday spirit right now. Well, actually, I remember, I want to say 2 years ago, I came down to this one spot. Not going to say where it's at, but there was a shooting that happened that night, right? There was like a popular fireworks show that literally thousands and thousands of people come from around the surrounding states to come visit, here in Pennsylvania, and it ended up being, somebody that had a problem with, like a rival gang or something like that. And then, a dude, got shot or something like that. Right. That's what happened like 2 years ago, for the 4th of July celebration, near where I'm at. And shit, I was there at that event when that happened. Like literally it was like a block away from where I was. Right. At first, didn't know what was going on. You saw a lot of people, just running. And then, you ask somebody like, "Hey, what's everybody running from?" They were like, "Oh, well, it could have been fireworks." But then, people thought they heard, some type of, commotion going on as everybody started running. Let's see. Tribe of Judah, Shalom said, "What's up? You got the Discord?" I do have the Discord. However, I have it on the opposite device from what I have here with me. So in like probably tomorrow I will be able to put a link in the comment section, or you can contact me at my Gmail. I'll put it in chat for you, and then I can send you one, but it's going to have to be tomorrow when I have access to that separate device. um let's see. All right, I put my personal Gmail in the chat there. You can contact me there and I can get you hooked up. Let's see. Ferris, somebody's in here named Ferris. How you doing, John? John said, "Hi all, laying low on the 4th." Yeah, that's a good idea, man. It's not a smart idea to go around, and party and things up tonight. That's well, we wouldn't do it anyway because we as Israelites shouldn't be celebrating July 4th because again, it's not our independence, right? It's not our independence. Again, if Americans want to celebrate, they're welcome to do that. But, as Israelites, we're not supposed to be going around celebrating, heathen holidays. And I mentioned I had to cancel the stream I did before just because of some issues. But let me cover something I mentioned. There's this channel I was watching earlier today. It's called Mark Dice. And he went out and asked like multiple different like random people on the street, all Americans. He asked them, basic questions about like July 4th and like why the country celebrates it. He asked them like, well, when was the Constitution signed? Like what year? Literally, multiple people didn't know that. One dude said in the 1600s, somebody said the 1400s, some person said the 1890s, somebody said the 1950s. Like, literally, I'm being dead serious here. You can look the video up. Mark Dice is the YouTube channel. And, it was crazy. Then he asked some people, like, what was the country that America won its independence from, right, during the war and all that. And some dude was like, "Oh, well, yeah, China, right? China was the country it won its independence from." I was like, "Wait, what?" Then another dude was convinced that it was actually the Germans that, you know, the July 4th is, like the victory over them. I mean, come on, this is, I mean, you got to think about this, and these are like, the young people that are, just well, supposedly just entering adulthood, but that's a different conversation. Um, like what, young people in their early 20s, late 20s. It's like, they should know this type of information, right? Like literally people, finished college, right? Or people just about finishing college, right? And they don't know this stuff. I mean, wow, that's pretty awkward if you think about it. And it just shows, the education system has failed people, right? People have been failed out here. Like a whole nother one I'll give you from the same dude. Mark Dice, he went out like 10 years ago, 10, 11, 12 years ago. And he did like a social experiment. He would ask people, like random people on the street, and may I mention, in many of the cases, they were right in front of a coin store. You'll see why I'm mentioning this. They're right in front of a coin store that, trades jewelry and coins for cash, right? And what he would do is he would offer people, they could have a choice to pick either a Hershey's candy bar, or they could pick like a 5 ounce gold, or I mean silver coin, or 2 ounce gold coin, stuff like that. He would offer different things on different days to other random people, right? And literally, I kid you not, out of 30 people, only one person took the the medal. Only one person chose the coin. Everybody else took the candy. Right? Again, they were offered, you could have either or for free, your choice. Would you rather have the candy, or would you rather have this, gold or silver coin? And literally everybody except for one person took the candy. And literally at the time, well, the silver, depending on the day, because again, it's like 10 different videos that he tries it in, right? Sometimes the silver is actually worth like $1,000, sometimes like 500. He did one with like a gold coin that was worth like $2,000. And again, it's like, wow, people literally took a $2 candy bar over silver or gold. Again, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But again, that's what, people don't think out here, right? Like people in this society, they just don't think. It's a damn shame if you think about it. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool, man. Right, that's cool. We'd like to hear about your experience. There. That's cool. Dogs. I'm not sure where you get that from, but that's incorrect. In fact, I don't even know. Like here's another thing that I don't understand. Right, here's like another thing I don't understand. Like sometimes people ask stupid shit that doesn't make sense. Like I'll give you an example. Like what fat ass dogs in the comments, basically he's doing the equivalence of somebody saying, okay, well, a Christian doesn't believe in God. That's like the equivalence of what he's saying. That's like the level of lunacy behind what this damn devil demon, a damn devil demon. That's what this dude is basically, doing in the chat, right? Making the jackass out of himself. Well, again, it's really for our entertainment. So again, you can't be mad at people like that. Hey, those that speak the truth, they oftentimes have many scoffers. Like, say, for instance, GMS, I would say out of all the Israelite camps around, GMS is more in line with the teachings of the Bible compared to any of these other camps. And I've always said that. Again, I've been around for years and years and years watching all these different camps. And even though I don't say GMS has 100% truth, because there's certainly a few things they're in error on, but out of all of the camps, they're the closest ones to it. Shit, you can't say that Sakari is above them because, first of all, for anybody that knows the history, Sakari, right, Deacon Haka, and what's this dude, Alazar, right, the quote unquote chief high priest, as he calls himself. These guys used to be part of GMS, but then they left GMS and started their own camp, right? So Sakari, the two leaders, well, they have multiple leaders in their camps, but the two main guys of that organization, they used to be in GMS, so they got a vast majority of their doctrine and teachings from Great Millstone. Right, like none of those guys were around back during the One West days, right? When they had like the school up in like New York, right? None of these guys in the Sakari, they were not around, during that time. But shit, I wasn't around back then too. But again, I know the information I know because I've listened to, the people who were around back then, like, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, that know this information before my time. Let's see. Hey, how you doing, Richard? John said, folks definitely have been dumbed down. It's amazing. Yeah, yeah, again, it's really just laughable to me, right? It's really laughable to me, right? The dude literally goes out, offering people literally silver or gold coins or a damn candy bar, and literally 29 people out of the 30 pick the candy, and only one dude picks the silver. I mean, come on. This is it's amazing to me, right? It's amazing, but people are all about living in the moment. Like literally, if you watch the videos, people will be like, well, hey, the chocolate, I can eat it right now, right? Hey, look, it's a snack for right now, right? And then one dude was even like, hey, look, the chocolate is the right, you know, um, deal to take, right? Because the gold, well, I don't know about that, right? I don't know anything about that. Then the other people were like, well, that's a Canadian coin, right? So it's not really worth anything in America. Come on, this is just this is funny. Martin Berto, this is a live stream. This is not pre-recorded. I am talking to you right now live in real time. Now, sometimes I do put up a pre-recorded video, but if I'm doing a live stream, you should see the word live somewhere on the screen, right? Just a heads up, if it's a pre-recorded video, it will say premiere, right? If it's something pre-recorded, not live, it will say premiere. But if it's live, like in real time, it will say the word live somewhere on it, right? So this is live right now, real time. But thanks for the question. Yeah, we had Bible Defender in here earlier, so shalom to that brother. I know he got, a lot going on. He recently had another son, right? Just a couple of months ago, so, the brother's been having, some issues with, like, getting his service up and all that. And again, I get the same thing, right? I have the same problem. I've had to change out my phone service multiple times over the past year. It's, again, it's difficult, but, you got to change, your service sometimes, right? Like, one phone provider, if you fall behind, they won't, like, here's how corrupt it is, right? At least this is from my experience. Like, let's say if you agree to pay $200 a month, right, for unlimited call, text, and home internet or whatever. You fall behind, they take your service away, but they will still continue to keep charging you until you're able to pay the whole thing. So, say if it goes 2 months past, you still have to pay them for that 2 months that you literally didn't use a single, um, ounce or whatever of your service, right? You didn't use any type of amount of your service that you agreed to, but you still have to pay the entire bill. So again, it's like they don't give anybody breathing room. And then guess what? If you get behind still, you got to make like late payments on it. Same thing with the bank. Like I remember, man, growing up, because again, I had a poor family, right? I come from a poor background, right? Just like, oh, what was that? Just like they said in that ERB battle with the artist and the Ninja Turtles, right? One of the artists said, he's joking around, said, "Hey, look, I was raised on goop," meaning what? He had a shit house and he had bad food growing up, right? I think a lot of us here, had that experience, to some degree or another, right? Um, but going back to what I was saying, I remember there were times when, like you might fall behind just like $2 in your bank account. And if you overdo something, they'll still charge you $30 on it. Like literally multiple times they got charged $30 in the same day by the bank, and they didn't even have the decency to even drop one of them. Like think about how unjust this is, right? They literally can, you know, nickel and dime you to death, as the saying will go out here, right? Out here in America, you are getting nickeled and dimed to death. Let me give you an example. Earlier today, I went to the store and I picked up two drinks. By themselves, they would have been like $3 each, right? So I saw they had a sale. It said like two for like $5 and a few quarters or few change or whatever. So I get up to cash register and it's literally almost $6, right? I look at the receipt and it's like damn 40 cents tax on like two 12-ounce cans. Wow, that's quite a lot for two cans, especially people out here, I myself included, have been worked for $8 an hour, right? So again, it's amazing out here. They could just continue to, keep charging an arm and a leg. But, hell, like even some stores in the area, they don't even give out bags anymore. Like literally will have you come shop there for like, a family's cart worth of food or whatever. And then you have to buy their bags for like $1 each, right? They don't even have the decency to give anybody like paper bags, right? Like they claim they did away with the plastic for the environment and all that, bullshit, right? But they didn't have the decency, on the other hand, to buy paper bags to give people to put their items in, right? Like, say, for instance, right? Like I'm talking about Walmart, right? In some states, Walmart, you have to buy like the blue Walmart bags in order to put your stuff in because they did away with plastic bags due to so-called helping the environment. No, they didn't have the decency. Like Walmart is literally like what, a $50 billion industry, maybe even more than that. You can look it up. And they can't even have the decency to pay the couple dollars or few cents to get paper bags for their loyal paying customers. I mean, come on, this is it's crazy to me. Like one time I was at Walmart back, when they had like the Halloween candy right in October, and I saw somebody out of the corner of my eye. There was like a young college aged, lady there, and she was like, reaching down behind, like one of the counters, and she had opened like a bag of candy that she kept going back to and like taking, one or two out and eating it. And she's been doing it for like 5 minutes, right? She tries to make sure people didn't see it. I saw what was going on, but you know what? Since I'm a good person, I didn't say nothing about it. I'm not gonna tell the employees that somebody is opening a $3 bag of candy and eating it in the store because you know what? I know how it feels to not have much, right? I understand how it feels to, not have much to eat. So you know what? Even though that's technically stealing, I don't think $3 is going to hurt a $50 billion industry. Let me say that again. I don't think a poor college student trying to steal a $3 bag of candy is really going to, you know, is it really ethical to throw that person behind bars for a few weeks just for stealing a bag of candy? Like, I mean, seriously, like, let's be honest here. Clearly, it's not. So the right thing to do in that situation is just pretend like you didn't see nothing. That's what a good person would do in that situation because even though it's wrong to steal, clearly in that instance, it's understandable why people are doing that. So Walmart isn't going to be hurting by losing $3 of Halloween candy, right? you know, at least that's how I logically view it. So I just thought I should throw that out there while I was talking about Walmart. Let's see. I'll get caught up on some comments because they've been going by quick. Um, Tribe of Judah said Deacon Akal was part of GMS Seattle camp. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Hey, how you doing, Galapagos? Happy to see you around, man. The Galapagos said Happy Babylon Day. Hey, Galapagos, I don't know if you saw it yet, but the Angry Pepper, aka the Angry Prepper, he was doing I don't know if it was live or he uploaded a video. I just saw it. I got a notification like an hour ago. The dude was on, I believe he called it like God Bless America or something like that, was on the video title or cover. The dude's out there like I don't know what the hell he's doing. It's some type of like patriotic thing, right? But again, remember I criticized this dude the other day. Guys on there like, oh, every other country is corrupt and evil, but in America, he's like, oh, well, America gets a pass, right? The dude's on there, blowing his top, you know, dude's on there looking like a black version of Winnie the Pooh on there. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. Right? It's unbelievable. You get a good laugh by listening to the angry pepper, as I call him, right? The angry pepper. Who literally is talking about, being a gray man, and not putting your information out there but yet the dude literally goes on, national television and shows his preps and oh, he went on like Doomsday Preppers and somebody else said he went on the local news down there and was talking about prepping. It's like, dude, you literally just put everything out in the open now. I mean, you know, now everybody knows where your shit's at. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Martin Berto, I get what you're saying. What's this person name? Selly or something like that? Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Someone said, "Have you seen the Illuminati poster at Arby's? They are putting the truth in plain sight." I have not seen it yet, but later tonight I'll look it up and see if it's online. Um, though I will say, I swear earlier I did see there was a poster. I forget what it was for, but I call it out of the corner of my eye. It had like a Illuminati eye up in the corner. So maybe that was the Arby's, but again, let me rephrase myself. The restaurant it was, I'm not sure off the top of the head, but I swear earlier today I saw like a poster that had the Illuminati eye up in the corner of it. But maybe that's what you're referring to. But again, I didn't really pay attention at the time. I just noticed that the eye was up there. but I don't remember the restaurants it was for. Yeah, yeah, Richard. If you got a question, I can address it. Yeah, just so you know, Martin Berto, the reason why you can't see the comments and everybody else listening live is because this is being streamed on 3 different channels right now. So for me, all of the comments show up all together. But if you're watching it on Jay's channel, you're only going to see the comments that come through on his channel. If you're watching on my channel, you're going to see the comments that come through on my channel by itself. So again, I get why it's confusing, but I'm on 3 different channels right now streaming. So that's why you can't see all of the comments that I'm reading, just to clarify that. Mark, I don't know if that's my buddy Mark right down in Florida. Could be because he has the same name. But hey, if it is, then shout out Mark, right? How you doing? But Mark said if Neil deGrasse Tyson converted to Islam and ran for president, well, Richard Dawkins converted to Judaism and ran for president, who would you vote for? Who would I vote for? Well, first of all, I don't think any voting counts in general. I think, both sides, like say the Democrats and Republicans, is just basically like, 2 wings of the same bird in simple terms, right? But hell, if I had to pick for one, if I was forced to pick one, I think I'd still pick Neil deGrasse Tyson. Because believe it or not, I think he's more respectable than some of these other so-called scientists, even though Neil deGrasse is wrong as himself too, but he's a more respectable person than, some of these other people out there that claim to be scientists and all that. At least in my opinion. Let me see. Marcus said, fine for being broke, LOL. Yeah, you're right. Out here you're fine for being broke, right? You're fined out here for having no money. Again, I'm going to quote the saying again. Everybody out here knows it, right? You're being nickeled and dimed to death. And that's true. That's not a exaggeration. That's absolutely not a exaggeration. We are literally being nickeled and dimed to death on everything. But let me tell you, son, I just went to Little Caesars a few days ago. I used to, when I was in Florida, like say 2019. So we're talking about like nearly 5 years ago, right? I used to go down to the Little Caesars. I would get the pizza. It was like what, $5, $5 of a couple spare change. But I went to get the same exact pizza that I used to get when I was in Florida, and guess how much it was? Like, take a guess how much the pizza was. I'll tell you, the same pizza, same exact size, maybe even a little smaller. It was 7.90. 7.90. Like basically $8, right? Basically $8. It's like shit, $8 for this little ass pizza to feed not even one, grown man for a meal. It's like, damn. And then if we're talking about drinks, forget it. That's a whole nother thing, in itself. But it shows stuff out here is being inflated, right? There's shrinkflation going on too, right? Like if you go to the stores and notice the packaging, they're giving you less product, but they're charging you more, right? So there's inflation, the price is going up, but it's also shrinkflation, meaning what? The product you're buying, it's going down, right? It's decreasing in size for a higher price. Yeah, and gullible people won't notice it, but people that are paying attention can clearly notice. Yeah, yeah. John said, "Home of the slave, land of the free." I'm gonna keep that on the screen. That's a good slogan, especially for July 4th. I'm gonna keep that up there. Good one, John. Um, But yeah, that's clearly what's going on. Like literally, let me tell you something. You know, you know what really pisses me off sometimes, and I see like older people on the internet. They'll talk about, well, why are like Gen Z, like the generation I'm part of, and millennials and all that, why are they always sad and always moody and and all that, or don't want to work. Meanwhile, they're sitting there, they're getting paid their SSI checks every month for based off our coming from our paychecks, right? Like me busting my ass for $8 an hour at Burger King, the money they steal from me out of my check, that's going towards you so you can sit around and do nothing, right? But you have the nerve to talk shit about me if I get pissed off that I can't afford nothing? Like, seriously, think about this. I have every right, and so does every other millennial and Gen Z person. We have every right to be pissed off at this country. We literally were being worked to death for nothing. We can afford nothing. We have to pay car loans every week. We, ride around in shit cars falling apart. We can't own any house. We have literally out here a one bedroom apartment, two-bedroom apartment is like what, $2,000 if you're lucky. I don't even want to know what it is in California, where Jay's at. I mean, you have to ask him how bad that is there, but I can tell you where I'm at, man. Shit over there, shit over here where I'm at, it's like, 17, $1,800. It's real bad out here. It's real bad. But again, people don't want to pay attention, but, as the saying goes, you got to wake up and smell the coffee, right? And, and that's what we're telling people out here, got to wake up and see the world for what it is, because you got lied to. Hey, I hate to burst your bubble, but you got tricked, right? You got lied to. They pulled the wool over your eyes. I'm talking to the gullible masses here. Demolished Auction said, "You are just old enough to notice. I have seen three doublings of prices, or four times the price of when since I was 10." Yeah, I can believe that, right? I can believe that. Like hell, a whole nother thing, tying into the finance, money is valued at, different levels around the world. Like, say for instance, you could get a shit ton of groceries if you take $100 to like, an Asian country, right? You literally can feed a whole family for like 2 weeks, if not longer, on $100. But over here in America, if you want to spend $100, I mean, shit, that goes damn easy. Let me tell you something. I was at Wawa the other day. Had to get like two sandwiches, right? Handmade sandwiches. They were literally $12 each. The bill came to $50, literally just grabbing like a few other needed items. A damn gallon of water, which I needed, was $3, right? I figured, hey, look, even though they're extorting the price, it would make sense if I just buy it here instead of, having to go, a few other miles out of my way to go get that, because the time and money you waste to go there, at the end, it just would end up costing more. Like, I don't know if anybody ever saw the show Brain Games. It used to be on TV when I was growing up. Look it up. It's called Brain Games. And there was an episode where they talked about how, like, say for instance, if you wanted to buy a phone for like, say, 990, yeah, $990 here, but then you hear that 10 miles up the road they're giving like a $10 discount or whatever. It turns out that if you go up there to try to, get that phone for the cheaper price, At the end, it might end up costing you more because you have to waste your time and energy, and gas money and all that to go over there and save like $10. So in that instance, it might just make sense to just pay the extra 10 so you can save your time and, the gas mileage to go down and get it. Now, I thought that was interesting. They talked about that on Brain Games. Again, I used to like that show. It's pretty good. I don't think they make new episodes. Another whole one I think everybody listening should check out. There's if you go on YouTube, you can listen to all these episodes for free. This guy Vsauce, his name is Michael Stevens, and he has a show he runs. That's called Minefield. Right, Minefield. Look it up on YouTube. You can watch all the seasons for free. Great show, great series. I've watched it multiple times. A lot of good information they go into there. Science experiments, psychological, um, experiments. Great stuff over there. Definitely worth checking out. Let me see the chat. The Galapagos said, laughing my ass off. The angry pepper guy swings back and forth like a pendulum. LOL. Yeah, you're right. You're right. 1 minute he's anti-government, next minute he is, a babbling baboon for the U.S. government, right? He, is on there like saying, "Hey, well, we all just gotta trust the authorities," but then a week later he'll be like, "Well, yeah, the people in charge is the agenda going on." It's like, I mean, pick a side, dude. I mean, the angry pepper, he's all over the place. Right, he's literally all over the place. One day he's anti-government, the next minute he's kissing their ass. I mean, you can't be wishy-washy like that. That's how a lot of Christians are too, right? They're wishy-washy, or as the Bible will call them, lukewarm, right? Like these fake, uh, what are these guys? I call them fake faith, right? These free gracers, they have a fake faith they believe in, right? All they have to do is confess to believe that a man died and rose again, and that's it, right? Their salvation is sealed if they just believe a man died and lived again. That's it, right? Like, can literally go out and do anything, and nothing will cause their salvation. Like, they can literally go take the mark. Got to use code language. They can take the mo, and they're still saved according to them. That's a very dangerous doctrine to believe in, man. Hey, the Bible says all you got to do is read Revelation 14. I believe it's starting at like 9 on down. Talks about anybody that takes that, is not going to make it there, man. Anybody who takes it is, God's going to punish them. Anybody that takes the mark will be punished. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. There's no such thing as repenting from taking a mark of the the yeast. I got to use code language here. Shit, I might be mistaken, but didn't was Richard the one, or was it Ace Theo? I always get these two mixed up, right? Richard and Ace Theo, always get these two mixed up. But one of them told me that they had multiple marks, right? They had multiple marks of the yeast. It was probably Ace Theo though, right? But could have been Richard because it was like 2 years ago, so I don't remember. But one of those dudes said that. Somebody said they're watching from South Africa. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I'll look into that. I'll look into what you're saying. But yeah, we have people, tuning in from all over the world, right? People listening to this from all over the world. Believe it or not, I even had somebody comment on one of my videos and said they were watching from Wuhan. Everybody should know where that's at, right? Wuhan, does it ring a bell? Inside joke, right? I'll give you a little hint, 2020, right? But it shows you people even watching from Wuhan. Right. So again, people are listening from all over the world. Matter of fact, every week, YouTube gives us like a scoreboard so we can see how our like channels are. Um, progressing and all that. So they show us like where people are watching from. And believe it or not, we even have people from like Asia watching, and literally Russia. There's people in Russia who are watching my videos. It said to me like 3% of my viewers are from Russia. It's like, damn, people are watching my content in Russia. Damn, I thought, they would crack down on this stuff over there. But damn, there's people watching from over there. It's crazy. But again, it shows that we're in end times. The Bible talks about, like in Daniel, the 12th chapter, about how in the end days, knowledge will be increased, right? And that's in the time that we're in. We're in the time where knowledge has been increased. We all are literally walking around with literal computers in our pocket, right? Phones are basically computers, right? Miniature computers. All of us have them. Matter of fact, here's a fun fact for you. ETT always loves his facts, right? Throwing out these facts. There's more people in the world who have a phone than have access to a working toilet. Look it up. It's a fact. Right? That's just a fun fact for the whole panel there. There are more people in this world who have a phone, right? Like a handheld phone that we all have, compared to people who have working toilets that they have access to. And that's sad to think about. But it's just a fact of, the world today. Galapagos said, I remember Angry Pepper had a bandage over his shoulder back in 2021, some old video during the 2020s, and people were saying he took the roosters, quote unquote. LOL, he got so angry and said it was from an injury. Yeah, I can envision that happening. And excuse me, I'm like way up here in the chat, so I'm trying to catch up with some of the comments coming in. So do excuse me if I'm a little behind. But I'm trying to read 90% of them that come in. Damn, you haven't been out of your house in 5 months? Damn, it's crazy, man. Hey, I feel for you, man. But hell, like, let me tell you something, man. During the 2020, I literally was in a house, like literally the size of a what do they call them? The favelas, right? In like Brazil, and some of these developing countries, these little houses that are literally like the size of like a master bedroom in like a mansion or something like that, or a wealthy home. Literally, I was stuck with four people in a little box house. Like literally, there's a living room connected to the kitchen, which opens a door to the bathroom and the one bed, and that's it. Oh, and the washer and dryer in the corner. But that's literally what I had to stay in for, we'll say, 4 months. Literally only going out like 1 dozen times in that 4 month period. I'll tell you, man, hey, a lot of people don't know to appreciate what they have until they don't have it, man. And sometimes you gotta learn that the hard way. Like, hell, I'll tell you, man. Hey, look, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm like, the top guy, right? I acknowledge I have flaws just like every other person. And, there's been decisions in my life that I've committed or, have done, certain things I wish I would have, done differently. But you got to take those things and learn from them. That's just the way that life works, man. You got to, learn from some of these mistakes. Like, I'll give you one example. Um, like, I wasted $1,000 on scratch off tickets. Though, to be fair, I did win like $500 on them. But over the course of like 8 months, I wasted $1,000 on scratch offs. But it was fun because, it gives me something to occupy my time with. However, I'm very responsible with how I do it now. I have not bought a lottery ticket in literally a year, right? So I haven't bought a lottery ticket in literally a whole year now. Um, so again, I wish sometimes I wouldn't have spent that money on it, but then again, I literally know people who've wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars on scratch offs through their entire life, right? So again, hey, might seem like a big loss to me, but shit, those people over there lost hundreds of grands. You know what I'm saying? So hey, it's different for each person. You get what I'm saying? Um, Martin Berto, I see you put a link there. I'm not able to click that right now because it will disconnect me from the StreamYard. So later I'll look it up, but I can't do it right now because it will disconnect me because I'm doing this from a phone, right? Like if I was on a computer, I know Jay has a computer where he does his streams on, but um, I'm not able to pull that up because it will disconnect me. But later today, I will look that up and I'll see what that is. Pat Evans, hey, how you doing? See, they said look into the Simpsons predictions for 2024. I'll check it out. John asked a question, said, "Could our phones be a mark? I worry about that." Well, here's my response to it. When you read the Bible, it says that there could be a mark in the hand, like a physical etching into the flesh, right? So our phones, even though we hold it in our hand, that's not the mark because the actual mark is something that goes inside of your hand. So no, the phone isn't a mark. And here's the other thing. There's not multiple marks that are considered the mark of the yeast. You got to use code language here. But there's one thing that's the mark, and that's the radio frequency identification device, right? Or in other terms, excuse me, that's the RFID microchip. That's what the Bible is talking about. It fits the prophecy to a T, right? Absolutely fits every aspect of the prophecy completely. And it's something that hasn't happened yet, but there are people in the world who have it. Like I literally know a person, like again, no cap here, right? As people would say, right? No cap, right? Like I'm not kidding. That is what that means. I literally know a person who has this chip in their hands. Like he's commented on my stuff years ago. He showed me on video this thing in his hand, right? So he has it, right? He's condemned, right? He's already condemned. He can't turn from that. There's no repentance from taking the uh the thing, right? The again, I'm trying to use code language here for the sake of YouTube because they don't like words being used, but everybody knows what I'm talking about here. How there was a dude, I think he was like a GMS dropout, but he went around and he was saying that paper currency, like the US dollar and the marks and all of the currency used around the world and all that, it's all considered the mark, right? Like if you use $5 to go buy a bottle of water or a pack of cookies, then you're using the mark. It's like, well, wait a second. His dumb ass is sitting there in like a brand new car and he's just sitting there drinking water. It's like I would bet all the money in my bank account that this dude has been using currency at least once on a weekly basis, right? So if money's the mark, doesn't that mean he has it too? Like seriously, think about that. If paper currency is this thing in Revelations 13:16, doesn't that mean he has it himself? Because he's using the paper money. And there's even an example in the Bible where Christ and one of the apostles they went and they called a fish, and in the fish's mouth there was pieces of money in it. Back in those times it was coins, but still it's money, it's currency, right? So if currency is the mark, well then Christ and the apostle had it then because they used the currency to gain access to a city. So again, the inconsistency is just astounding to me. But people don't think is the problem. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you're right on that, Martin Berto. Yeah, your phone, like literally, here's something weird, right? Dealing with your phones. Not only are they selling your data, the people that need it, or whatnot, like it's on dark web stuff like that. But do you notice that even if you turn your location off, you'll like if you go to the weather app, it will still show you like weather in your location, even if you turn it off. It's like, wait, well, how the hell is it doing that if it doesn't know where I'm at because it turned it off? Again, a lot of weird stuff going on. And here's a fun fact for you. I know a couple of years ago with one of the iPhone models, like every 5 seconds, it would take like a screenshot of your face. But the only way for you to view it is you had to view it under like a certain special light. Like I think it was like a purple light you had to have on. It would show you like every 5 seconds. It would every 5 seconds it would like take a screenshot of your face. Again, look this up. This is not a conspiracy. This is real. Look it up. Right. And again, you had to have a certain special light in order to see the flash. You couldn't see it with the naked eye. You had to have a special light being shined at you with your phone near you in order to recognize it. So again, there's definitely some shady things going on with phones. And by the way, I recently had a debate, which is not publicly available yet, about should kids have phones or not, right? Should people, because they were saying that people shouldn't have any type of phones until they're at least 14, which I disagree with that. And I think I have a fair stance to have on that because I was literally in the generation that grew up with these devices and used them very effectively. In fact, I would not be I would have none of the knowledge I know today if it was not for, having access to the internet by having a phone. Right, like, I'm not a computer guy, right? I'm not big on computers, I never have been in my life. Like, I remember when I was little, right? Like, say, 1st grade or whatever, like, every day at school, there would be, like, a different activity, like, some days you would have PE, like, outdoor time, other days it would be music class, art class, but then on Fridays, it was computer day. Like, the whole class would get to go on the computers, they would let us go on, like, websites like Starfall, which is still available today if you want to look that up. Like little education apps for kids and all that. But hell, I remember I would used to hide underneath the kitchen table and they would have to like fish me out, in order to get me to go to school on computer day because I just didn't like computers. So, my uncle had to like fish me out from under the table because I would, hide there so I didn't have to go to school because I didn't want to use the computers. Right, so as you can tell, I'm not really a computer guy even today. Like, shit, I've had a computer before, but I've, had to sell that recently. Um, and again, just not big into it overall. Let me see real quick. Okay, Richard asked a question, said, if the Father is precisely God and Christ is precisely God, did the Father hang on the cross, died and was raised from the dead, and profess God for 40 more days on earth? Well, no, and this shows you have a misconception about the Bible, Richard. Because the word God is used in multiple contexts. Like, let me give you an example. In Psalms 82, verse 6, it says, for ye are gods, the sons of the Most High. So there was called men gods. Now, does that literally mean that men are like on God's, the supreme God's level? No, it doesn't mean that. It just has the context to the word. Like, I'll give you another example. The Bible calls Satan God. Like if you read 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, It says the God of this world has blinded the minds of them that didn't believe, nearly paraphrasing, but you can read it. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. So when it's called Satan, the God of the world, God of this world, does that mean that he's God the Father? No, it doesn't mean that, because the words have context to them. Just like how the word world, in some instances, it can mean the entire so-called globe, but in other instances, it can mean a group of people. You just got to use the context it's used in, buddy. Right? So again, was Jesus a God? Yeah, Jesus was a God, but he wasn't the Father. I mean, there are so many examples in the Bible where Christ says that he's different from his Father. Like, I'll give an example. John chapter 14, verse 28. Christ said, "My Father is greater than I." Wait, well, how the hell could his Father be greater than him if he is the Father? Well, there clearly a separation involved, because he said that his Father is greater than him. What about in Matthew, what is that, 26, after they had, the Passover supper, he went out with the apostles, Christ, he was prayed to the Father and asked him, if it's his will, let this cup pass from him, but nevertheless the Father's will, be done. But wait a second, why would Christ pray to the Father if he was the Father? That's a cut. And then a whole nother one I'll give you, Matthew chapter 3, verse 17. When John the Baptist was baptized in Christ, there was a voice that descended from heaven and a bright light and said, "This is my beloved Son, in him I am well pleased." Wait, so how could that be Christ if Christ was the one being baptized? And it said, "This is my beloved Son, in him I am well pleased." So clearly it's separate entities being involved here. So again, Richard, I just say you just have a misunderstanding about the context of certain words. But that's my response to your question. Flat Stuff Earth, how you doing? I've seen the name around. Yeah, I don't believe in the globe. I think I used the word globe once in this stream, but I think I said so-called globe. Hell, and sometimes, we might even slip up. Like even David Weiss slips up sometimes and says the globe, but he's a hardcore flat earther, right? So sometimes, we'll slip up and say the globe, right? That doesn't mean we believe in it, but like say for instance, I'll give you an example. Um, I could use the term global trade, right? Global trade. In that instance, the word global, it just means like around the world, country to country trade, right? So even though the world's not a globe, we could still use the word global as in global trade because it's trade with, nations, um, around the world, right? So again, that's another good example of how words can have different context to determine their meaning, right? That's another good example. Jamie said, "Have you considered the science of land surveying?" Yo, Jamie, are you a flat earther or are you a glober? And the science of land surveying, are you talking about like the land surveying that they used for like Noah's Ark over on Mount Ararat in Turkey? Are you talking about that type of landscaping, or like on like the physical, like upper level of the ground? Glober, Jamie, do you want to come on here? I'll drop a link for you. Just let me know if you want to come on. We can have a conversation for a few minutes about the topic. Galapagos said, "ETT, did you know there was a movie being made about how the moon landing was faked before they actually went to the moon?" Um, I don't think I've knew about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But hey, that'd be an interesting movie if it's true, right? That'd be an interesting movie. I know there's been documentaries such as Astronauts Gone Wild and the other one, um, what is it? A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And actually, fun fact, the creator of one of those films, I believe it was the first one or the second, it was either the first or second one. He actually had the man who made the film come on his live stream, like I believe like 4 days ago. You can find it. Just look up They Live Truth and then go to his live stream. It was like the last one he did. Right. I think his name is like Bart Chabrel or something like that. They just came on and did like a conversation. Let me grab a drink real quick. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation between the two, and definitely check out both of those two documentaries. They're both very good, about why the moon landing was clearly staged. 6 hour David Icke interview. I mean, maybe in the future I'll check it out. Yeah, I wouldn't say that the word flat Earth is used in the Bible. This is replying to like something somebody put up here in the chat. I wouldn't say the word flat Earth is used in the Bible, but certainly, um, there are so many points in the Bible that clearly just work on a uh, non-rotating Earth. A plain Earth, right? I mean, there's no way that any reasonable person can read the Bible and still come to the conclusion that the Earth is, a spinning globe. Like you just can't do it. Right? It just can't be done. It's um, it's too difficult to try to prove a globe by reading the Bible. It's just too difficult to do. Bear with me for a second. Galapagos said the new movie is called Fly Me to the Moon. It's a new movie in production. I think this is to cover with all the holes in the moon landings. We might see a disclosure from NASA about it being fake soon. LOL. Yeah, man. Hell, I know what's this cat? Um, what's this guy? Mark Sargent, right? He's been saying on his flat Earth clues, he's been asking the authority to come out and and just admit the lie, right? He's been telling them, asking them that since like 2015, right? But yeah, man, hey, they can't keep this under wraps forever, right? This hidden truth, it's been hidden for what, 50 some years now? Since 69 that the moon landings were staged. Again, eventually it all comes to the table. Matter of fact, I don't know if you guys saw this, but last year there's a video that came up of a man on his deathbed who claims that he's worked on the fake moon landing set, and he explains where it happened, how they did it, and all that. Again, this was a deathbed confession by this man. Again, you look it up. You might be able to find it on YouTube, or maybe they censored it. All right, Jamie, hold on a second. Jamie Russell, I'm putting the link in the chat. Click the link and let's just have a friendly discussion about the heliocentric versus the geocentric. If you're up to it, your choice, but there's a fresh link in the chat for you. The link is only for Jamie Russell. If he chooses to hop up, his choice. But Jamie said, I would say the Earth shape isn't really told in the Bible. Well, what about Isaiah 40:22? It says, "For it's he that sits upon the circle of the earth." Now, what a lot of people try to do is they'll say, "Well, see, it says the circles that proves the globe." It's like, but you guys do realize that something can be flat and be a circle. Like, I'll give an example: a dinner plate is a circle, a frisbee is a circle, a car tire is a circle. If you go to Domino's and get a pizza, the whole pie is a circle, right? Again, there's so many things. Oh, a pail, right? A bucket. That's the ring on it. That's a circle, right? Again, there are so many different examples. Oh, if you go and get a cup, right? The top of the cup. Well, in vast majority of them, it's a circle, right? So again, there are so many examples that we can use to show that circle doesn't mean that it's a spheroid. Like that's just willfully ignorant to just say that that's the end all be all because we can clearly demonstrate that there's clearly other alternatives. Yeah, flat earth stuff. I hear what you're saying, but I would say that's not a reliable Bible translation in my opinion. But again, if you want to run with those, you're certainly welcome to do that. Okay, Jamie said he can't join right now. That's fine. I see somebody else in the back chat. Let me see real quick. Yo, can you hear me?
I'm on live with some guys from America.
Yo, are you able to hear me?
Important.
Sorry, bro. I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Hello, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, I can hear you now. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
All right, cool. What's
I'm
up?
the guy who told you. I'm fine, man. I'm from South Africa.
Yes. I saw your comments in the chat.
Yeah, the time I was telling you about David Icke, you should check out Credo Mutua, not actually David Icke. David Icke flew from London to South Africa to interview that old man. He's dope. You should check him. There's a lot of information that you can get from him.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Like in the future, I'll definitely check out some of his. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Was David Icke the individual that was saying that like there's reptilian beings, or am I getting him confused with another person?
Yeah, you're right. That's him.
Okay. Do you hold to that same idea, or would you say that he was wrong on that?
No, he's very right. He's very right about the traditional beings because there's a mountain here in. Okay, I'm from the northern part of South Africa. So there's these other mountains called the God Mountains, the Koti Mountains. My mother, there's this other guy who can go in those mountains. He's like a voodoo doctor because normal people, me and you can go in there and come out alive. So he got like this other picture on her phone. I was back from school from November, from November, from November. So when I came home, he showed me that picture. You know what happened, man? You won't believe what happened when I got this picture because I took that picture from my mother's phone and Bluetooth it to my phone. When I go to my friends trying to show them the picture, that picture just disappeared. So I thought maybe I did not Bluetooth it, I did not send it properly. Tried the same thing again, tried to show it to my friend, that picture is not there. A couple of days later I get shot. For real, those things exist.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but like say for instance, like he could be right on some things he says, but I would say he's wrong on the reptilians. Like, let me give you an example from the Bible. This is First Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 39. It says, "All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, and another flesh of fishes, and of birds." Right. So according to the Bible, it tells us that there's one type of flesh for each of these different things. So I would say that like refutes the idea that there's like reptilian shapeshifters, in the world as far as going from the Bible's perspective. But I know in other cultures, they might have like similar beliefs. Like say for instance, I know the Hindus, they believe that like a person can die and they can come back as like a a different type of creature. Like say for instance, in India, there's a temple over there. I recently watched a documentary on it, but there's a temple of the rats over there. There's like 20,000 rats in this temple, and they believe it's holy. They like literally would drink milk that these rats are bathing in, right? And they believe that these rats are actually their ancient relatives in reincarnation. So similar ideas are around the world. So I can understand that.
Yeah. But this reptilian, it was a bit different. It was not green. It was pale, 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 like the grays, but
Ye-
it was slightly taller than the average human. I literally saw this picture. It was a man, it was a woman, and a baby, a small baby. The baby, compared to a human baby, it's about maybe like, let me say, 60 centimeter than the average baby. Let, let me say from a newborn baby. I literally saw that. Literally.
Okay.
I'm not lying.
Where would he say these reptilians are coming from? Another planet?
No, they're in the mountain. In the mountain. And he said that there's this other, inside that mountain, there's also like water. Like this other pools, water.
In the mountains, this seems like some type of the what is it, the Anunnaki or something like that. That seems similar to that coming from the
Yeah.
mountains.
Yeah. It's not a big mountain, man. It's quite small, man. It's maybe like 500, maybe like 200 meters or yeah, by length.
Well,
Yeah,
let me
maybe
ask this with the Fury though, because again, you might
yeah,
be a little familiar with it, but he hold the view that the reptilians are they like the world leaders? Are the world leaders these reptilians just in human form?
yeah. They were in human form. They look like humans, like bone structure, but the color is different. The color is different, slightly taller from the average human. I
Okay,
literally saw that.
but what like when they're not in public, what do they turn back into some type of reptile?
No, what he says, he's like a shaman. That guy, he's from a family of sorcerers. So he says he goes there every 2 years, and every 2 years they have babies. So before you can go there, he has to get like some herbs, go to some rivers and get some things, some things. Then when he goes into that mountain, he gives those reptilians those herbs, and he has gifts for them.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know about all that. That's an interesting view on it.
And then that guy, my mother once was telling me about that guy. That guy was sending the picture to my mother's phone. So my mother was wondering, why are you taking so long to take that picture, to send me that picture? Then that guy was telling my mother, I have to get permission from those reptilians. And here's the scariest part. That guy's like 100 miles away from them, but he can still communicate with them. Then that guy told my mother, okay, fine, I've gotten permission to send them the pictures to my mother's phone. That's when my mother's able to get what you call the pictures of the reptilians. That phone got stolen, just disappeared. But I was able to send those pictures to my phone, but they disappeared twice. Twice.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I hear what you're saying.
You know what you can do? Just go to the net when you put some time. Type in Mulle. It's Model sorry, double LE mountains in South Africa.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll take that into consideration. I'm gonna go back to what I was previously talking about. But I thank you for stopping by, and you're definitely welcome to stop by again. You can continue
Been
to
watching
listen.
you, man. Been watching you for 2 years now, man.
All right, that's cool, man. Keep up. Keep paying attention to the videos, man. I'm gonna open
Yeah,
up for the next caller. All right, thanks for calling in.
no problem, no problem.
Okay, cool. He was cool. All right, there's a link going out. Just bear 1 second. There's a link going out here. If anybody wants to call in, share their thoughts or questions or whatever, you're welcome to click the link. Um, Jamie said he can't join now, or he could, or he would. Excuse me. Yeah, that's cool, Jamie. Another time. Jamie said, "I think the circle is just a way of explaining how you see the world." Um, I'm not sure what you mean by that because, like, say for instance, the first man that went up there, what's this guy, August Picard or something like that, or Auguste Picard? You can look him up. And by the way, he was actually like one of the first people that went down to like the Challenger Deep. Like, what was it, back in the 50s? You can look this up. But they had to like come up back to the surface because the submarine that they went on, right, the sub, the window got cracked at that depth. So they had to, come back up to the surface. But it was Auguste Picard, and then there was another man that went down with him. But then he was also the first man to, reach the highest elevation above the earth. When he described the world at that elevation, I forget the exact mileage he went, but he described it as, a flat disc-like shape with upturned edges. It's interesting, that he described the world like that, back in like the 50s when he first went up there. Someone asked, what do you think about Jonathan Click's teachings? Honestly, I don't know who that is, man. Right? Honestly, I've never saw that person's content or teachings. So, in all fairness, I can't I can't comment on them because I never saw their stuff before. But one thing I will say though, out of because again, I'm going on 10 years, and in a couple of months, I'm going on 10 years that I've been in the truth, right? So again, just a handful of months in the future, it'll be 10 years that I've been in the truth. So out of my years of experience, no, because again, I'm into this stuff like every other day, you know what I'm saying? So over the near decade I have of experience by listening to, hundreds, thousands of different people on the internet and all that, I'll tell you, man, you know, don't just hear, some people, and again, this is going to everybody. I'm not just saying this to Berto, but everybody got to be cautious when you listen to people on YouTube because they might say a few things right, but then clearly go off on a lot of other things they say. And there's countless examples of people like this. Like, I'll give one example. There's a channel called The Mind of, what is it? Oh, it's Feed Your Mind, right? It's Feed Your Mind, excuse me. The channel is called Feed Your Mind. And why he does some good videos about certain topics about like the flat earth theory, he clearly adds some like nonsense in there. Like there's like, say for instance, he'll say that the all the mountains around the world are like fallen titans or shit like that, which clearly doesn't add to the Bible narrative. That's clearly not true. Or they'll say it like outside the firmament there's like ancient giant creatures swimming around. So like when you hear thunder, that's like these creatures, swimming around. It's ridiculous, But again, those false things he believes doesn't take away from some of the decent work that he does. Like, say for instance, he did a whole video documenting the what is it, Operation High Jump and Fishbowl from the 50s with what's this guy, Admiral Richard Byrd. Right, he did a good documentary about that. I've watched a handful of times. But some of his stuff, clearly is hogwash, right? It's make believe. Um, let's see. Oh, don't mind that. That's just that's LOP right there. Oh man, he's gonna get a kick out of that if he watches this. Let me grab a drink. One thing I'll mention the other day, I was at like a Walgreens or something like that, and I was overhearing the there's like the two workers there that they were talking to like this guy that was buying stuff from the store, and they were talking about the wax, right? You know what I'm talking about. Got to use code language here, right? These juices, and they were talking about, yeah, somebody got them. I know they had kidney failure or something like that after they got it, and they were saying, well, yeah, this stuff, clearly there's weird stuff going on. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, well, hey, look, these average, simpletons, these 9 to 5 workers and all that. Hey, some of these people are starting to, figure out that they got tricked, right? Some people out here are starting to get smart, right? Or some type of smarts where they're able to realize, there was a deception pulled on them, right? Hell, they're not too bright, but, at least they're able to start putting some puzzle pieces together, as the saying would go, right? At least they're starting to be able to, see that there was a deception that was pulled on them. And most people can't see that, right? Most people are too prideful and arrogant. Like, I'll give you an example. I want to say a year, maybe 14 months ago, I ran into a group of Jehovah Witnesses, which, me, if I see somebody out there, Christian, atheist, Muslim, agnostic, this could go on and on, people out there, in public talking about, like Bible related or, God related topics, I join in and, add to the conversation or whatever. Um, so these Jehovah Witnesses, I stopped them and, challenged them on a couple things. You have to secretly record them because they don't like to be on camera, right? If they find out that you have them on camera, they will shut down the conversation and, literally leave or just won't talk to you. So you got to like secretly do that, which for those who don't know, at least in the United States, going by their quote unquote legality, which anything legal or illegal is bullshit that a group of people just made up. So it's not, has no basis in reality to begin with, other than your imagination. But just to point out for the people who, the sincere believers, right, the true staters, the true statists that believe in their government and their decrees, even by the so called law of the land, you're allowed to record people in public without their consent. A lot of people don't know that. But even according to the law of the land, quote unquote law of the land, I should say the bullshit of the land, there you are allowed to publicly record a person without their consent as long as it's, not on their property, or in their home. But if it's like, say if it's at like a amusement park or, just a public sidewalk or, outside a grocery store or, something like that, something out in the public, you are allowed to record a person without their consent. Again, look this up. It's a fact. Some countries they might have it different, but in the United States, you are allowed to, even if they don't want to be on camera. But of course, if you want to be polite, then don't put them on camera. If somebody doesn't want to be on it, that's the polite thing to do. But anyway, I was talking to this group of Jehovah Witnesses, and then after we had the initial conversation, about hell, salvation, Babylon, Apocrypha, after we had the initial conversation, I brought up, well, what do you guys think about this whole flat earth thing? Have you guys ever heard about that before? And, as usual, they get, the, what is it, the side eye, right? And then the laughing voice and all that, like they never heard of such an idea, which, average everyday simps, like they think it's very easy to prove that the world they live on is a spinning globe, right? Like, oh, what about, ships over the horizon? What about gravity? What about the pictures? It's like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, it's like, boy, you know, you're uh you're shot glass deep, right? I'm Challenger deep and you're shot glass deep, right? You're not you got few screws loose that you need to tighten, for lack of better terms. And again, try to show them certain things, like, say, for instance, like, how is it then that here it is supposedly like we're in rotation around the sun, but yet the Bible says that the sun and the moon move, not the earth. In fact, there's like what, 20, 30 verses in the Bible that say the earth is stable and does not move. And on the other hand, there's multiple places where it talks about the sun and the moon moving, such as Joshua 10, verse 12, right? It talks about the sun and the moon moving. Then Psalms 19 literally talks about the sun moving and having an orbit. And even in, like, say, for instance, another good point, they believe that the moon doesn't generate its own light, but it reflects the sun's light. But the Bible says the moon has her own light. It says it in Genesis, then also in like Matthew. I believe it even quotes it in Revelation. It talks about how um, the moon wouldn't shine her light. Wait, the moon wouldn't shine her light? Well, why the hell would she not shine her light? Why does it say it's her light, though, is the question. I thought it's the sun's light because apparently the moon is reflecting sunlight. So the Bible clearly makes it sound like the moon has her own light that she's casting on the earth, not the other way around, not that is reflecting like sunlight. Right. So those are a couple points that they, can't really address, when you deal with the Bible. Um, you can send that video to the Gmail I provided up in this chat if you'd like to do that. You're welcome to send it there. By the way, I've been up for 24 hours right now. So yeah, do excuse me if I'm a little slow here. But I've stayed up for I've stayed up 24 hours multiple times, before. So I'm all good. Shit, I could pull an all-nighter to like what, 12 o'clock if I want to. The record I've stayed up, which here's a fun fact, by the way. The world record for the longest time a human has ever stayed up for without sleeping is 11 days, right? Like 11 and a half days, right? Believe it or not, somebody actually stayed up for 11 and a half days. That's over a week. What is that? Like, what is that? A week and a half? Something like that? Shit, I can't imagine how sleepy that guy must have felt. Again, you can look it up. The dude's literally on YouTube, right? The actual person that has the world record. But you don't want to do that, right? Don't, attempt something like that. It's very dangerous to stay up for multiple days. Like, hey, 1 day, 2 days, your body can handle it. Technically, it's not healthy to do, but technically your body could handle it without much of a problem. But going 3, 4 days and beyond, that's when things could start, things start going sideways. Hell, quite literally in some instances, man. If you stay up for that long, you start seeing visions, right, of like, demons and flying creatures and, shit that's not actually there. Right? Again, it's serious. It's true. Look it up. Right? If you stay awake for too long, your brain will start playing tricks on you, and you'll take like what is it, micro, I think they call it micro sleep or something like that. Like, you'll doze off without even realizing it for a few microseconds, and then you'll, wake back up, right? You'll jolt back up. Again, you can look it up. But the record I've stayed up, the longest I've ever stayed up for was 36 hours. Right? So basically like a day and a half, right? So 36 hours was the longest time that I've stayed up for without sleeping. And that was the day I went to New York for the first time. Right? That was a ironic as that sounds, right? The longest I ever stayed up was the first time I went to New York City. Right? Both of those things I did for the first time on the same day, as ironic as that is. Alfred G, how you doing? Um, she said that my brother said he started seeing things when he would stay up for days. Yeah, I believe him. There's multiple different people who have, experienced stuff like that. And there's a whole nother thing called, night terrors or sleep paralysis, which is scary to think of because I've been up for 24 hours. And a scary fact is that you tend, like, or in other words, you're more likely to have a sleep paralysis experience if you stay up for, long amount of hours. So that's unnerving to think about. But, it's, again, you can go on the internet and look up, this stuff. But by the way, sleep paralysis is actually in the Bible. It's in Job, I want to say the fourth chapter. It doesn't use the word sleep paralysis because that's what we call it today. But Job talks about how, he would get terrified with the visions that come upon him when he sleeps, nearly paraphrasing it. But if you read Job before, you'll see where he talks about seeing visions at night, right? Seeing these frightful apparitions appearing. Hell, and that's even in the Apocrypha. It talks about that in the end days, apparitions would appear on the earth, start revealing themselves to people. And we see that, right? There's all over the world. There's videos popping up of people having, experiences, we're seeing, like demonic entities in their houses, seeing figures over them while they sleep, catching unidentified creatures on camera, so-called UFO abductions or stuff like that. Again, the list could go on and on and on. Yeah, yeah, that's right, Alfred. Some people out here, there's a lot of, again, this isn't advice to go do any of this because, you know, using the drug substances is a sin to do because it's harmful for your body. But yes, there are certain things in the world, such as one that was on, what is it? One drug that was on Minefield was, what was that, ayahuasca or something like that. Michael Steven went out and tried that, had a wild experience. Um, again, there's all types of, substances people use that they experience, seeing figures or, all types of weird things. Again, I believe it, right? I believe it. What's causing it? I'm not sure, but definitely some weird stuff going on with that. Just catching up on the chat, making sure I didn't miss anything from above. Pat Evans said, "You cannot delete anything you type online." Um, Sometimes you're able to like backtrack a message, but I'm sure you're like they have like in their data centers, they have like all the things typed out, right? But again, it's all for us outsiders looking in, it's speculation. You get what I'm saying? Let's see. But yeah, man, a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. That people need to be paying attention to. But everybody out here, the average simpleton, would rather to party it up and just have fun. Not think about shit. That's how people out here are, right? All about that party lifestyle. Hell, like say for instance, like even on these TV shows like Doomsday Preppers, one thing that they have right is, people talk about, hey, people look down on, the preppers and, what is it, the preparedness community. They look down on them today. But the truth is that in the near future, they're going to be seeking these people out. Because a lot of these people, the preppers and whatnot, right around the country and around the world, they they're some of the smart people, right? Even some of them that are atheists would be considered to be smart in some sense because they can see that something bad is coming in the near future, and they're able to prepare themselves for that. They have the smarts to notice that, okay, well, yeah, something ominous is in over the horizon, right? They can see the storm coming miles away, for lack of better terms, right? So they have an opportunity to get right, and that's the time we're in right now. We're in an opportunity right now, you know both a physical opportunity, right, to actually physically get preps, and also spiritually, right? People, like say for instance, some of our people who might be living in sin today, they have an opportunity to get right. Because guess what? Once that day comes and you're still a sinner and not believing, well, guess what? It's a wrap for you. You're not going to be able to, cry out to Jesus during the rapture and just get saved because at the last moment you said you believe, but yet your whole life you rejected. It's like it doesn't work that way. Now, like, I'll give a whole nother example of how the church is wrong. They believe, some of the churches believe that there's going to be like a second chance, like after the rapture happens. Because again, they have a misconception where they believe that the rapture could happen anytime out of the blue. It could happen 5 minutes from now. Could have happened yesterday. Could it be next week? Could be tomorrow. And everybody that believes is just going to disappear. And then the tribulation begins. And then somehow people are going to believe during the tribulation, and then Christ is going to save them after. Like that's how some people believe, but that's not true. There's only one rapture, like one event that people would call a rapture. Like there's one event where the whole world sees Christ return, and then He saves His chosen. It's one event when this happens. It's not like 3 times or 2 times that He comes back for His elect. That's not what happens. Christ says He's going to come back with the angels of heaven. Then He's going to send them with the sound of a trumpet to gather together all his elect from all over the world where they're scattered. And that's a whole nother thing. We have people all over the world who are part of the elect. You have people in Africa. You got people in, of course, America, right? Mystery Babylon. America is like the headquarters of the main stage, right? America is the main stage of the last days. But of course, the plagues and, God's judgment will reach the entire world, all nations. But America is the center stage where like the main action takes place, according to the prophecies. But again, we have elect all over the world, Switzerland, Turkey, Iraq, India, China. There's even probably a few there too. Again, the elect are scattered all over the world. And that's why it says that He would send His angels out with a great sound of a trumpet to gather together all of His elect from the 4 winds of the earth. The 4 winds, in that context, it just means like the scattered all over the world. That's basically what it means. It doesn't mean that there's literally like 4 winds on like literal corners of the world. It's like, no, the Bible has metaphoric language sometimes. Like people read a verse that use the term 4 corners, And they'll say, well, see, it means that the earth has literal four corners. It's like, no, sometimes the Bible has metaphoric language in it, clearly. And that would be an example of it. Four corners of the earth just means like abroad upon the earth, like many different areas of the world. Doesn't literally mean the earth's like a square. I mean, it's just not true. All right, there's my email one more time. Somebody asked for it again. There you go. I put it in there for you again. Let's see. I'm just looking at something backstage real quick. All right, that's fine. Oh man. But yeah, it's a lot of shit going on right now. And it's again, a lot of people are just not paying attention to what's actually taking place in the world. A lot of people are just doing stupid shit, playing games, thinking everything's a damn joke. Or the other hand, right, like these truthers, like, oh, everything is staged, everything in the world is fake. Like, well, shit, what do you mean? You're gonna find out very soon that not everything is fake. Like, sure, I know there's some conspiracies and some stage things in the world, sure, but I mean that doesn't mean that real things are not happening. It doesn't mean that. Again, like, it's amazing to me, like, how I have to, like, point this out. It's like, I would think people are smart enough to realize, okay, sure, on one hand, there's, elite that runs the world and controls a lot of things, sure. But, be smart enough to realize, well, okay, yeah, out of a world of 8 billion people, obviously real events happen on Earth. Like, like real acts of violence happen, real wars happen, real gangs fight against other gangs, governments fight against other governments over power and control of different territories. Like, again, this has happened all throughout history and will happen until the day Christ comes back. Like dummies out here say, oh, the war in Ukraine is fake. They're not even able to explain what that means. That, like, they think they figured like this massive conspiracy out just because they saw like a 20-year-old picture of Vladimir Putin shaking Zelensky's hand at like a governmental meeting. It's like, that doesn't prove that this is all fake. What it shows is they had a meeting, so just like normal humans, they'll do a handshake and smile back and forth. Like, again, like, I don't get this. It's just a bunch of cherry picking is what's going on. Like Russian vids, some of his stuff is cherry picked, right? Like they'll ignore the facts that disprove them, but they'll just cherry pick a couple images and just call that the facts. Again, we got to start being smart sometimes. We need to start using our brains to think. And you know what? If you think everything in the world is fake and staged, well, you don't believe in the Bible then, because Jesus, the Christ, warned that these things will be happening on earth in the end times. Right? Like he literally warned about this, that in the end days, there would be nations fighting against other nations. There would be wars and rumors of wars, famines and pestilences, earthquakes, among all the other things that they mentioned. Ted, I see you in the back chat. In order for me to let you on, you need to post like you need to pick a profile picture. Otherwise, it will not allow me to add you. Just to let you know that. Um, let's see. Martin Burrow said Jonathan Click claims Satan and the fallen angels created mankind in their image, not God, as it states in Genesis chapter 1, to make his claim. Clint says the Hebrew word Elohim, the second most common word for God in the Old Testament, next to Yah or Jehovah, really means Satan and the fallen angels. I disagree with that. I'd say that he certainly has a misunderstanding. Because you know what? Here's a whole nother thing, right? Here's a whole nother thing. The Christian idea of Satan is also misunderstood. Like, I'll give you a clear example. Like, everybody thinks that Satan fell from heaven. There's nowhere in the Bible that says that. Don't go to Isaiah 14, because if you read verse 4, it tells you this is talking about the king of Babylon. It says, take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. And then it goes on to the proverb. So Isaiah 14 is not talking about a Satan fallen from heaven from God. It's talking about, again, it's metaphorical language being used, right? Like, say, for instance, sometimes in the Bible, the word heaven, sometimes it means where God dwells. Other times it means the sky above our heads, or other times it can mean a condition of like rulership and power on earth, right? So when it talked about how he wanted to ascend above the clouds of the sky, right, ascend into heaven, that's metaphoric language. It doesn't literally mean that there was like a demon creature that wants to fly up to heaven and fight God for power. That's fairy tales. That's not true. Now, is there a spiritual demon called Satan that tempts people? Of course, that's true. There's demons and a Satan who tempts people, but they're under God's authority. The Bible clearly teaches that God has control over demons and the devil. All you got to do is read Job's story. Satan couldn't do anything to Job unless God gave him permission to do it. And then we see, even in Mark 5, the legion of demons, they worshiped Christ. They said, okay, just give us the permission and we'll do what you tell. Again, they knew that he was the Son of God. They even said that. Just read it, Mark 5. Right? They knew that he was the Son of God and did what he told them. So again, they have the power over him. No, Satan doesn't have the keys and power over so-called hell. Christ said in Revelation chapter 1 verse 18, it says, I have the keys of hell and of death. All right, bear with me for a second here. I see somebody in the back chat. Yo, Greg, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear, my man. What's good, man?
How you doing? I'm doing
Man,
all right.
everything is going well, man. I just got back from New York City. Man, I don't went to a lot of places, but I plan on I'm going to Chicago this weekend. I gotta take care of some unfinished business. I'm going to the Theosophical Society of America. I was gonna expose the books that they promote, because I had to ask as far as, like, what books and stuff they promote. But I did go to the Theosophical Society in America and New York City, and I got videos on that. And I could definitely, if y'all want the video, but man, it's crazy. They promote like it's like as soon as you walk up in there, like, so how these people claim to be, spiritual, them people that be worshiping the crystals and all that
Right.
type.
Yep.
That's what they got inside of the Theosophical Society. And there was a section, they got a book on Aleister Crowley's rituals. Like they got a collection of Aleister Crowley books and a book on Aleister Crowley's rituals that these celebrities and these politicians and entertainers be following. I said, man, you can't make this shit up, because your average person, they won't understand the, the devil worship that, stuff, like organizations like Theosophical Society, for example. And I
Right.
also ran into the Kabbalah. I recorded it because I wanted to make sure, the symbols, and I got everything. So that's for sure. Because the Bible said in Second Timothy, no, First Timothy 4 and verse 1, people are gonna they're gonna leave the Bible and go practice, new age spirituality like Theosophical Society, because people, they don't understand, the devil worship that Helena Blavatsky, basically, her teachings are basically devil worship, basically, because I got to go to Lucius Trust because I made a commitment to, because people asked me, they said, "Hey, can you go inside?" I said, "Yeah, of course." I said, "Of course I could do that." But I can't lie, my man. It's when I tell you to get inside of Lucius Trust, it is not like, it's not easy at all. Like, you gotta like tell them, because security is tight as fuck in there. Like Lucius Trust, because we know it used to be called Lucifer's publishing, but the guy, he was like, "Oh, well, where's your ID?" And I was like, "Will they allow me to go in?" Well, he said, "Look, I gotta see your ID and stuff, because you can't, I'm the security guy." I said, "Oh, okay." So then I showed him. He was like, "So you must be," and I said, "Yeah, I got," and he said, "All right then." So, and then you go to this elevator, and then once you get there, it's a lot. They got like a lot of books on the occult. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm like, wow. And the crazy thing is, my man, they give you, like, the Satanists, they actually give you free pamphlets. I said, wow. Like, they gave you free pamphlets on Alice Bailey and all that. I said, dang, that is crazy. And they allowed me to look at their books, because I was sneaking in. I was trying to show, the books, the new age satanic books they be promoting. And you people would be shocked what they got up in there. It's crazy. It's crazy for sure.
Yeah, man, I hear you. That's interesting. Matter of fact, I'll put on screen here. That's the email. You can send that information over here, and I'll definitely check that out. I'll
Oh
leave
yeah,
it on the
most
screen.
definitely. You got an Instagram?
Um, oh, I don't got one, but Jay might have one, but I
Okay.
can't contact him right now. But if you want to send that to me, you can click the copy that there, and then you'll be able to send that over. And if you do that,
Okay.
I can definitely
Uh,
send him the information as well.
I got you. All right, so I'm gonna definitely send you the information for sure. So coming up this week, I'm finna go to Chicago. So I had set up a schedule. I told him I was gonna come on Wednesday, and I was gonna show, all the books and the pamphlets, and then I'm gonna come back from Chicago, and then I'm gonna expose the New Age and how it aligns with, the conscious community, the these so-called woke people that, they claim to be woke, but, really they're practicing the, Satan's new age in
Right.
reality. Because the thing is, they make this stuff seem so calm, like, for example, like yoga and, Buddhism and Hinduism. They make it seem like it's a calm collective, like, like stretch, or like, practice, but really it's Satanism, and it's all dubbed on the left-handed side, and it's everything. And see, it's all against the Bible, because the Heavenly Father, he already knew that, all this stuff was going to happen. He already prophesied that all this stuff was going to happen, because it all goes back to the when the serpent told Eve to eat the tree of forbidden knowledge of good and evil, which is really philosophies. That's what the Theosophical Society, that's what they teach. They teach that same garbage Satan told Eve from the garden, and they teach that you could be your own God. You're better than God. That's the type of garbage they teach.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It all
Uh,
seems really interesting.
yeah, and I'm gonna definitely, cause it's like, yeah, so I'm gonna definitely, once I get your email, my man, I'm gonna definitely send it to you. And then I plan on going to, because Truth is, I mean Jay, my man Jay Roulette, he told me you should come out to LA, and he wanted me to record this it's a secret society called the Aleister Crowley's Ordo Templaris Orientis.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, I said, if they still have it around, then yeah, I wouldn't mind recording it and sharing it if they just to expose it, because I pretty much took care of everything. So I did make a promise. So I will go to LA, and I checked and looked, and they do have one in Los Angeles. And luckily, I'm going to LA, so I'm going in 2025. So I plan on doing it sometime, maybe March. It's gonna be one of them times, but I'm gonna record it and take pictures, and then once I'm done, then I'm gonna just come back and just do the thing and just watch America just get burnt up, basically. Because we see America is crumbling. You seen that shit show of a president with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. That was a straight up shit show.
Right,
Oh
right.
man, that's
Yeah,
how you know.
hell, again, Biden's he can't even like. I mean, there's so many videos on the internet. Of this guy tripping over his own damn feet. I mean, this guy's clearly not fit to run a country. You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel,
It's
yeah,
remarkable.
I feel like that Joe Biden could be a clone. I ain't gonna lie, because I do believe that cloning is real. Because you be seeing a lot of these celebrities, like you seen they had Jalen Rose froze one time, Shaq froze, Bill Clinton froze. It's a Hillary Clinton. They had like them MK Ultra glitches, and it's like they be freezing, and then they'll act funny,
Yeah,
like
I've
Al Roker.
seen like say for instance, like I wouldn't call them clones, but I definitely know what you're talking about. I've seen many of those clips before. How it doesn't seem very strange how like they'll pause out of the blue for like a minute or two on hand, like won't move a muscle. It's like yeah, something strange is definitely going on with that. As to what it is, I couldn't say, but it does definitely something strange with that going on.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely because it's definitely some fishy stuff going on, like for sure. And it's like how could people not see what's going on? And I took a man. I went to Arby's, right, and they got
Yeah.
this Illuminati. It says his return is near, and it's like, and it's crazy. I was looking at the people to see if they knew what was going on, and they just walked past it like it was nothing. And I was like, gosh dang, these people really are stupid. God, man. I mean, they putting it right in your face, and it's like they just walking past it like nothing, like nothing is happening. And they really believe that they're trolling us. How could they be trolling us, but they're putting it right in your face? They're telling you what they're getting ready to do to you. But y'all so damn blind to see, and it's like, man, these people really are stupid.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you know what else I find funny? Like, say, for instance, even the government will come out and tell people, well, yeah, you should have, a week's worth of food in your house just in case an emergency happens. But even with the so-called authority coming out and telling people plainly that, you should have these things if something bad happens, they still don't even have like 3 days worth of food in their house, even when their rulers tell them that they should. So again, it shows that a lot of the people just, even if it hit them in the face, they wouldn't believe the truth, unfortunately.
Exactly. And it's like, because it's like, because the Bible did say in the last days, a lot of people were going to, they were going to have itching ears and giving unto different doctrines that they ain't gonna listen. And you see it
Right.
today. I mean, these people today, they're worse than during the times of Noah. It's like it's no talking to these people. It's like, well, what can you do? All
Yeah,
you could do is
absolutely, absolutely. Like, say, for instance, right, like a good example of how it's worse today than those times. We have like little 5-year-olds undergoing, sex change surgery. Like
yeah,
these
that shit is
operations,
crazy.
that wasn't going on when Noah walked the earth. Sure, there were gay people around back then, sure, but now, like literally,
They
I've
got
been
sex
places.
changes for. for
Yeah,
babies, man.
yeah, like say this. I've been places where you see somebody walking, they might look like a attractive woman, but it turns out they're actually a man. It's like, wow, think about how weird that is. We're in a day and age when you don't even know that the woman you're looking at is actually a woman that might have actually been a man. Again, it's a
Exactly.
very strange time that we're in.
Most def and you was telling me about how them churches were having them alphabets. I went to New Jersey. I think it's Morristown, New Jersey. They had the alphabet flag at the church, and it's like, wow, these people are supposedly supposed to believe in God, but here it is, you're putting alphabet and flags and pride flags when the
Yeah,
Bible is clearly against that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like literally, I passed this morning. There was two churches I passed that were flying the pride flag, and I've even seen a church that had, the plaque they have where they put like a daily message or whatever. They put one
Uh,
up and said that they are pro-abortion rights. Think about that.
uh,
That's a Christian church.
a,
It's
chur-
crazy.
a
What's
church is
going
for
on?
killing babies. That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
It's
yeah
amazing to
they
me
got to
what's
be the
going on.
antichrist. They definitely of the heavenly Father. They're of the antichrist. That shit is mad crazy, my man. But man, I just wanted to say, man, thanks for letting me, getting the time to, talk to you. My phone is getting ready to die, but I'm gonna send you all the stuff on the yeah, I'm gonna send you the pictures that I took and everything that I got, and I'm gonna give that to you for sure. And when I get back from Chicago, I'll give you those as well.
Okay, that sounds pretty good, man.
Uh,
Yo, let me put this picture up real quick. Let me just find this on my phone. I'll show you what I was talking about. I'll add it as an overlay real quick. Let me just
okay.
upload it. Okay, it might be hard to see, but so look
Oh,
at
I
this.
can
This
see
is
it.
a church that says
We
we support
support
abortion
abortion
on
on.
demand without apology.
That's some crazy. That's crazy. A church.
Yeah, yeah. Look
Second
at that.
Unitary Church. That shit is correct, man. See, that's how you know the Heavenly Father is going to burn this place up. If churches are supporting abortion, this place got to go, man. I'm telling you, man. The Heavenly Father, He's coming back in a fury. Him and His Son, they coming back in a fury, and
But like Greg, you
this
know what I
place is going
find
to get.
weird before you go? The strange thing is, like, I remember when I was growing up, like say 15 years ago, everybody that went to church, they understood that the Bible had like common ground where God was clearly
Exactly.
against this. But
Yep.
now today, it's
It's
did a
the total
360.
opposite.
Now you're considered to be the weird and anti-Jesus person if you speak out against, rainbow people or transformers, as I call them. You're the bad person now. You're the anti-Jesus person. It's crazy, man.
Exactly, and it's because it's like in the Old and the New Testament goes against the alphabet lifestyle. I mean, and you see these people still going to pride parades saying, "Oh, well, God is love," and all that, because the Heavenly Father don't support none of that garbage. Because if you was to do stuff like that, you would have got shot. Because the modern day stoning, you would have got shot back in them
Right,
days. But
right,
nowadays
right,
it's the total opposite. Cause in the ghettos, in the hoods, like as they say, the gangs. If you was a mole, you would have got shot on the spot. Like they didn't play that shit.
right,
Like in the streets, if you was a mole, your ass would have not only you would have got beat the death, you would have got shot. So that right there should tell you something. But see, nowadays in these schools, now these people are defending them and they're saying, oh, well, now it's okay. Because I remember when I was in 8th grade, man, that was our last time we got to go against the alphabet people. And then once I got to high school, now everybody, and this is a black school, now everybody's supporting the alphabet, especially these women. It's like, wow, it's like, because the crazy thing was, my man, she wouldn't like, I wasn't even talking to her, and she just came in my conversation, and then she was talking about, oh, I'm gonna beat you. I got a gay friend, and I'm gonna beat you. I'm like, bro, what? I wasn't even talking to you. Like what? Oh
Yeah,
my,
I
it's
hear you,
crazy,
man.
man. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
you don't just have to deal with these dang women, but you got to put up with these dudes. These are athletes now. Even the athlete, these are track runners. These dudes are even defending the alphabet people. I said, man, why you gotta be so homophobic? And why you gotta? It's like, man, y'all are, man. This generation is fucking lost.
Right,
My generation
absolutely.
is fucking gone. Like, God, I mean, man. I mean, I know
Yeah,
the females
absolutely.
was gonna do it, but God, even the dudes. This is a black school. I said, man, I can't. I'm just glad
Yeah,
the
it's
Heavenly Father
crazy.
gave me this truth, and I'm glad I'm into these scriptures and know who I am. And I'm glad I'm not like these worldly ass people. Because when I tell you, my man, I hate these worldly people. I hate them. Like that they are our enemy because they don't want nothing to do with the Bible, you know. And and it's like,
Hey,
man,
remember it
I
says,
can't.
people will hear us say this and they'll say, well, we're anti-Jesus to say, hey, well, remember, John 3, it says, he that doesn't believe, he is condemned already. So people that reject Christ, well, they're already condemned if they don't believe on him.
Exactly. And majority of these people, they're going to get burnt up here in America, and they're not going to make it. They ain't gonna make it.
Yeah, a lot of people have a rude awakening coming. But hey, it was good talking to you, man. I thank you for
Yep.
stopping by. We'll definitely
Uh,
do it again sometime, man.
oh yeah, no problem, my man. And I'm gonna hit you up on the email, and I'm gonna send you the stuff. And thanks for allowing me to, come on your platform and talk with the people and everything.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I was happy to have you on.
All right, my man. You take care.
All right, you too. You too.
Shalom, bro.
Shalom. All right, that brother's cool. I've talked to him probably, I believe, 2 times before I've had him on. That brother's always cool. Let's see. But yeah, he made a lot of good points, man. Like he was going into like the school system and how they promote all this stuff, man. It's again, it's crazy what's going on out here. Like, even on these children's shows, like say for instance, I know that Disney, we've all seen the Toy Story movie, but they recently did like a sequel to it where they show like Buzz Lightyear's, backstory. I believe it was called Lightyear the movie. That's what it was called. And there's a scene in the movie where it shows like two gay women, right? Again, in a little children's movie, right? So it's like it shows, there's clearly, agendas going on. And then even on like Disney Channel, right? There's literally like, trans or rainbow characters in some of these kids movies or shows that they have on there. Again, you can look this up, it's true. I remember when I was growing up, I used to watch those channels, right? But they didn't have that stuff on there back then. But now they do today because there's clearly a agenda that they are pushing upon the people. And again, anybody that can't see it, they're just lost in the sauce and are just delusional. Just don't got a clue what's going on. Again, it's just like my buddy Mark would say. We'll give him a little shout out. As my buddy Mark would say, it's blissful ignorance, right? Blissful ignorance. That's what a lot of people out here show, man. Nothing but blissful ignorance and cognitive dissonance. Like people will sit here, make fun of people like us that point out these clear agendas being pushed, and they'll say, "Oh, it's a conspiracy. There's nothing to see here." But then clearly anybody with half a brain can see there is clearly something that's being covered up underneath the table here by the people in charge. Clearly there's something behind the scenes that trying to push upon the population. I always quote this verse, right? Job chapter 9 verse 24, for the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Another good one, what is that? Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Right. And everybody out here is all depressed and on antidepressants, and it's terrible what's going on out here, right? So clearly the wicked are in rulership right now, not the righteous. And what does that show? That all of these people, like in Congress and in these high elevated places in society, they're wicked, right? They're not for the people and by the people as people, claim they are. They're corrupt and power hungry, right? They're only looking to get themselves into a, further elevated position, right, of more power. And that's what happens when all these, presidents and new, congressmen get into office, right? A, it's not about how they can make the lives of the average man better, but how they can, increase their livelihood. That's what it's always about, with with these scum. That's how it's always like when they get into office. Just like whenever presidents are, running their campaign, they'll promise this, and that for the people. But then when they get in office, it'd be a miracle if they even perform one of those 25 things they promised to the people. But anyway, I don't want to make this stream too drawn out. It's over 2 hours. If anybody made it to the end, put hashtag black. Hashtag black for the background behind me there, right? The StreamYard background. But anyway, hope everybody found this stream educational, and I'm gonna call that the show.